October 12, 1942. 0005 hours. Waters west of Guadalcanal. USS Boise turns searchlight on unknown radar contact, trying to identify target. Distance 3,000 yards. Beam illuminates Japanese heavy cruiser Aoba. Simultaneously illuminates Boise. Mistake. Fatal mistake. Aoba's 8-inch guns already trained. Already loaded. Already aimed. Japanese spotters see American cruiser perfectly lit. Perfect target. Perfect opportunity. Perfect kill. Aoba fires. Range 7,500 yards. Point blank for heavy cruiser. First salvo hits Boise's belt armor. Detonates on impact. Fragments spray. Minor damage. Crew barely notices. Ship continues firing. Engaging Japanese cruiser. Trading salvos. Even fight. Until second Japanese shell arrives. 0007 hours. Japanese 8-inch shell strikes USS Boise below waterline. Forward. Between turrets 1 and 2. Penetrates 3.5-inch belt armor. Continues downward. Detonates inside 6-inch magazine. Forward magazine. Turrets 1 and 2 magazine. Powder room. 500 bags. Each bag, 45 pounds nitrocellulose propellant. Total, 22,500 pounds high explosive. Enough to destroy ship. Enough to vaporize forward section. Enough to kill everyone forward of frame 40. Should detonate. Should chain react. Should obliterate Boise. Does not. Yet, the shell detonation ignites powder. Individual bags. Temperature reaches 3,000 degrees instantly. Flash fire races through magazine. Through handling rooms. Through hoists. Up into turrets. Men die instantly. Burned. Incinerated. Vaporized. Turret crews. Magazine crews. Handling room crews. Hoist operators. All dead. Seconds. No time to react. No time to escape. No time to understand. Just flash. Heat. Death. 77 men in forward section. 77 dead. Later count shows 107 total. Others die from wounds. From burns. From shock. From everything. But initial flash kills 77. Instantly. Completely. Finally. The magazine should explode. 22,500 pounds, propellant burning equals massive explosion. Ship-breaking explosion. Ship-sinking explosion. But magazine is flooding. Japanese shell penetrated below waterline. Ocean pouring in. 10,000 gallons per minute initially. Water meets fire. Physics battle. Fire versus flood. Heat versus mass. Combustion versus suppression. Fight lasts seconds. Water wins. Magazine floods before full detonation. Residual powder burns. Generates smoke. Generates gas. Generates pressure. Blows hatches. Vents through turrets. Spectacular. Terrifying. Not catastrophic. Ship survives. Barely. But Boise is crippled. Forward turrets destroyed. Turret 1 out. Turret 2 out. Turret 3 jammed. 3 of 5 main battery turrets silenced. 6 of 15 6-inch guns operational. 40% firepower lost. Forward magazines flooded. Forward handling rooms flooded. Forward machinery spaces threatened. Ship down by bow. 3 degrees. 4 degrees. 5 degrees. List developing. 2 degrees port. Flooding, spreading. Damage control parties responding. But situation critical. Ship might sink. Ship might explode. Ship might die. Minutes will decide. Captain Edward Moran commands. Age 48. Experienced officer. Medal of Honor recipient. Previously commanded destroyer Perry. Earned medal. July 1919, protecting American civilians. Vladivostok during Russian Civil War. Tough officer. Competent officer. Right officer for crisis. Moran assesses. Forward section destroyed. Flooding forward. Fires forward. But aft section intact. Turrets 4 and 5 operational. Engineering plant operational. Steering operational. Ship can fight. Ship can maneuver. Ship can survive. If damage control succeeds, if flooding stops, if fires extinguish, many ifs, all critical, all achievable. Maybe, Moran makes decisions. Orders damage control parties forward. Orders flooding controlled. Orders fires fought. Orders turrets 4 and 5 continue firing. Ship will fight. While sinking. While burning. While dying. Ship will fight until cannot fight. That is order. That is expectation. That is reality. Crew responds. Everyone responds. Damage control. Gunnery. Engineering. Medical. All stations. All hands. All doing jobs. All fighting. All surviving. Together. The battle continues. Japanese cruisers Aoba and Kinugasa firing. American cruisers Helena and San Francisco firing. Salt Lake City firing. Destroyers firing. Torpedoes crossing. Shells splashing. Searchlights sweeping. Chaos. Total chaos. Night action. Most confusing type warfare. Nobody sees everything. Nobody knows everything. Nobody controls everything. Just fight. React. Survive. Hope. That is night combat. That is Cape Esperance. That is October 12th, 1942. Boise withdraws. 120 hours. 15 minutes after magazine hit. Ship disengages. Turns south. Makes smoke. Fires from aft turrets covering withdrawal. Speed 20 knots. Adequate. Hull survives. Flooding controlled. Fires diminishing. Casualties enormous. But ship alive. Ship moving. Ship escaping. Mission changes. From fighting to surviving. From attacking to withdrawing. From victory to survival. Acceptable change. Necessary change. Only change possible. Dawn reveals damage. Forward section devastated. Turrets 1 and 2 blackened. Burned. Empty. Turret 3 jammed. Barbettes intact but systems destroyed. Forward magazines gutted. Handling rooms gutted. Everything forward of frame 40 damaged. Everything burned or flooded or both. Hull hold below waterline. Temporary patches hold. Pumps working. Ship makes 10 knots. Heading for safe port. Heading for repairs. Heading for survival. Which port? Espiritu Santo. New Hebrides. American base. Repair facilities minimal. Adequate for emergency repairs. Not adequate for full restoration. That requires Navy Yard. That requires United States. That requires crossing Pacific. Damaged. Vulnerable. Slow. Dangerous transit. But necessary. No alternative. Boise must reach Philadelphia. Must repair properly. Must return combat. Must survive to fight again. October 15. Boise arrives Espiritu Santo. Temporary repairs begin. Patch holes. Shore bulkheads. Remove debris. Remove bodies. 107 dead. Recovered where possible. Many unrecoverable. Burned beyond recognition. Remains unidentifiable. Buried at sea. Later. After emergency repairs. After ship stabilized. Bodies wrapped. Ceremony conducted. 107 sailors. Committed to ocean. Forever. Names remembered. Service honored. Sacrifice acknowledged. But bodies gone. Returned to sea. To fight. To war. To death. As sailors have been returned. For millennia. As sailors will be returned. Forever. Emergency repairs complete October 20. 5 days. Ship seaworthy. Not combat ready. Seaworthy. Capable of crossing Pacific. Slowly. Carefully. Accompanied by tug. USS Navajo. Fleet tug. Seagoing tug. Capable of towing if Boise's engineering fails. Capable of providing pumps if Boise's flooding worsens. Capable of rescue if Boise sinks. Insurance. Backup. Necessity. Both ships depart Espiritu Santo October 21. Course. Pearl Harbor. Speed. 10 knots. Distance. 4,000 miles. Duration. 16 days. Long transit. Nervous transit. Every hour uncertain. Every day risky. But uneventful. Ship holds together. Pumps manage flooding. Engineering maintains power. Navigation proceeds correctly. November 6. Boise arrive Pearl Harbor. Further repairs. More patching. More shoring. More preparation. Final leg approaching. Pearl to San Francisco. San Francisco to Panama. Panama to Philadelphia. Each leg dangerous. Each leg necessary. All completed. November 19. Boise arrives Philadelphia Navy Yard. Home. Safe. Barely. But arrived. Mission accomplished. Survival achieved. To understand how Boise survived requires understanding what she was. Brooklyn-class light cruiser CL-47. 7th of 9 ships. Laid down September 10, 1935 at Newport News Shipbuilding. Launched December 3, 1936. Commissioned August 12, 1938. Specifications. Length 608 feet 3 inches overall. Beam 61 feet 9 inches. Draft 19 feet 9 inches standard. 24 feet maximum loaded. Standard displacement 9,700 tons. Full load displacement 13,386 tons. Heaviest treaty cruisers built. Washington Naval Treaty limited displacement 10,000 tons. Brooklyn class exceeded by creative accounting. Actually displaced 9,700 tons standard. Everyone knew. Nobody complained. Treaty era ending. War approaching. Numbers irrelevant. The propulsion. 8 Babcock and Wilcox boilers. 4 Parsons geared turbines. 4 screws. 100,000 shaft horsepower. Maximum speed 32.5 knots. Range 14,300 nautical miles at 15 knots. Fast cruiser. Long-range cruiser. Capable cruiser. Could operate independently. Could screen battleships. Could lead destroyer squadrons. Could perform any cruiser mission. Versatile design. Successful design. 9 built. 8 survived war. Boise nearly did not. The armor scheme. Belt 3.75 inches maximum amidships. 2.25 inches forward and aft. Applied over special treatment steel backing. Total 5 inches maximum protection. Deck armor 2 inches over machinery spaces. Magazine protection more substantial. Magazine sides 4.7 inches. Magazine crowns 3 inches. Turret faces 5 1/2 inches. Turret sides 1 1/2 inches. Turret roofs 2 inches. Barbettes 6 inches. Conning tower 5 inches. Light armor. Treaty cruiser armor. Designed to defeat destroyer guns. Resist cruiser shells at range. Not designed to stop heavy cruiser shells point blank. Inadequate for Cape Esperance. But adequate overall. Design succeeded. Armor performed. Belt stopped first Japanese shell. Magazine armor delayed catastrophic explosion. Long enough for flooding to suppress powder. Long enough to save ship. Armor worked. Maybe not perfectly, but sufficiently. Survived. The armament. 15 6-inch 47 caliber guns. 5 triple turrets. 3 forward. 2 aft. Unprecedented. Heaviest light cruiser armament any Navy. Brooklyn class designed as destroyer leaders. Required maximum firepower. 15 6-inch guns provided that. More guns than any American cruiser. More guns than most light cruisers worldwide. Only Japanese Mogami class comparable. Initially carried 15 6-inch. Later rearmed 8-inch. Brooklyn class kept 6-inch. Kept 15 guns. Kept overwhelming firepower. At Cape Esperance. At Sicily. At Leyte Gulf. Everywhere. 15 guns made difference. Made Boise dangerous. Made Boise effective. Made Boise legend. The 6-inch guns. Mark 16. 47 caliber. 130-pound projectile. Muzzle velocity 2,500 feet per second. Maximum range 26,300 yards. Rate of fire 8 to 10 rounds per minute. High rate of fire. Rapid fire. Overwhelming fire. 15 guns firing 10 rounds per minute equals 150 rounds per minute. Ship could deliver 150 shells downrange every 60 seconds. Devastating? Few ships withstood that. Few ships tried. Most died. That is Boise's reputation. That is Boise's capability. That is why Boise mattered. Secondary armament. 8 5-inch 25 caliber dual-purpose guns. Single mounts. 4 per side. Defensive weapons. Anti-aircraft. Anti-surface. Adequate. Not exceptional. Later augmented. 40mm Bofors added. 20mm Oerlikons added. Anti-aircraft suite improved constantly. War progressed. Threat evolved. Defenses adapted. Boise adapted. Survived. That is war. Adapt or die. Boise adapted? Always. The fire control. Mark 33 director forward. Mark 33 director aft. Both controlman battery. Redundancy. Survivability. If forward director destroyed, aft director continues operating. If aft director destroyed, forward director continues. Ship retains fire control capability regardless of damage. Theory excellent. Practice excellent. Cape Esperance proved it. Forward director destroyed. Aft director continued operating. Turrets 4 and 5 fired under aft director control. Accuracy maintained. Effectiveness maintained. Fire control worked. Redundancy saved ship. Design validated. The radar. SC Air Search Radar. Mark III Fire Control Radar. Surface search capability. Air search capability. Fire control capability. Modern equipment. Effective equipment. Critical equipment. Boise detected Japanese force before visual contact. Opened fire using radar ranges. Hit targets in darkness. This is modern warfare. This is radar warfare. This is Boise's advantage. Ship exploited technology. Used radar effectively. Gained tactical advantage. Until searchlight. Until illuminated. Until Japanese saw her. Then technology irrelevant. Visibility matters. Target illumination matters. Boise learned. Paid price. Survived. Never repeated mistake. The Battle of Cape Esperance begins October 11, 1900 hours. Rear Admiral Norman Scott commands Task Group 64.2, 4 cruisers, 5 destroyers. Mission: intercept Japanese bombardment force, protect Henderson Field, prevent Japanese reinforcement Guadalcanal. Standard mission, desperate mission, necessary mission. American ground forces Guadalcanal require support, require supplies, require reinforcement, require protection. Navy provides, or tries, or dies trying. That is Guadalcanal campaign. That is October 1942. That is reality. Scott's force: heavy cruiser San Francisco, flagship, heavy cruiser Salt Lake City, light cruiser Helena, light cruiser Boise, destroyers Fahrenholt, Duncan, Laffey, Buchanan, McCalla. Modest force, adequate force, best available. No battleships available, no carriers available, just cruisers, just destroyers, just determination. Must suffice, must succeed, must win, against Japanese force probably superior, probably heavier, probably more experienced, but must engage. No alternative, must fight, must protect Henderson Field, must maintain American presence Guadalcanal. Everything depends on it. Campaign depends. War depends. Future depends. Exaggeration. No. Reality. Guadalcanal is decisive. Everyone knows. American forces must hold. Japanese forces must recapture. Neither side can afford losing. Both sides committed. Totally. Guadalcanal decides Pacific War. More than Midway. More than any single battle. Sustained campaign. 6 months. Continuous combat. Attrition warfare. Industrial warfare. America wins attrition. Japan loses. Guadalcanal proves it. Cape Esperance contributes. Boise contributes. Through fighting, through bleeding, through surviving. Japanese force: heavy cruisers Aoba, Kinugasa, Furutaka, light cruiser Fubuki, 2 destroyers. Commanded Rear Admiral Aritomo Goto. Experienced officer, competent officer, aggressive officer. Mission: bombard Henderson Field. Land reinforcements. Support ground forces. Same mission Americans oppose. Collision inevitable. Time: night. Location: waters west Guadalcanal. Outcome: uncertain. Everything uncertain. Night combat. Visibility limited. Identification difficult. Coordination impossible. Confusion guaranteed. Result unpredictable. Both sides understood. Both sides accepted. Both sides engaged. 2333 hours. Scott's force turns northward. Standard patrol pattern. Destroyers leading, cruisers following. Destroyers trailing. Column formation. Standard formation. Adequate formation. Until contact. 2346 hours. Helena's radar detects Japanese force. Range 14,700 yards. Bearing north. Closing. Helena reports. Delays reporting. Uncertain. Radar contact unclear. Captain waits. Confirms. Reports. Delay costs seconds. Seconds matter. Scott acknowledges. Maneuvers to cross Japanese T. Classic naval tactic. Position force perpendicular to enemy course. Concentrate all guns on enemy leading ships. Enemy can return fire only with forward guns. Advantage enormous. Tactic requires positioning. Requires timing. Requires coordination. Scott achieves all 3. Perfectly. American force crosses ahead Japanese formation. Perpendicular course. Optimal position. Japanese steaming directly toward American broadside. Perfect T-cross. Perfect tactical position. Perfect moment. 2349 hours. Fubuki illuminates San Francisco. Searchlight. Japanese attempting identify target. Mistake. Reveals position. Reveals range. Reveals everything. Scott orders open fire. All ships. All guns. Commence firing. Boise opens fire first. 2346 hours. Range 4,500 yards. Targets Japanese cruisers. Radar fire control. Accurate fire. Effective fire. Shells hit. Oba burning. Furutaka burning. Kinugasa maneuvering. Japanese formation disrupted. Confused. Damaged. American surprise complete. American advantage total. American victory developing. But night combat rewards confusion. Japanese recover. Return fire. Searchlights sweep. Illuminate targets. Aoba identifies Boise. Range 7,500 yards. Opens fire. Shells hit. First shell bounces. Second shell penetrates. Magazine explosion. Boise crippled. 77 dead instantly. More dying. Ship flooding. Ship burning. Ship withdrawing. Fight continues 11 more minutes. Then Scott orders disengage. American victory. Japanese force damaged. Furutaka sinking. Fubuki sinking. Aoba damaged. Mission accomplished. Henderson Field protected. Japanese bombardment canceled. Cost? Duncan sunk. Fahrenholt damaged. Boise crippled. Salt Lake City damaged. San Francisco damaged. Heavy cost. Acceptable cost. Necessary cost. Victory cost. That is warfare. Pay price. Achieve objective. Move forward. Boise paid price. Achieved objective. Survived. That matters. Everything else secondary. The nickname One Ship Fleet comes later. Press reports. War correspondence. Crew accounts. Multiple sources claim origin. Probably apocryphal. Probably exaggerated. Probably legend. But base truth. Boise's kill scoreboard. Japanese flags painted pilot house. 6 flags. 6 ships claimed sunk. 2 heavy cruisers. 1 light cruiser. 3 destroyers. Reality different. 1 heavy cruiser sunk. Furutaka. 1 destroyer sunk. Fubuki. 1 heavy cruiser damaged. Aoba. Total damage less than claimed. But claiming standard. Night combat over claiming universal. Multiple ships firing same target. Each claims sinking. Double counting. Triple counting. Normal. Forgivable. Everyone did it. American forces. Japanese forces. British forces. German forces. Everyone overclaimed. Fog of war. Confusion of battle. Desire for victory. All contributed. Boise not unique. Just enthusiastic. Just optimistic. Just wrong. But nickname stuck. One Ship Fleet. Ship that sank Japanese Navy single-handed. Obviously false. Obviously exaggeration. Obviously legend. But nickname reflects something real. Reflects aggressive spirit. Reflects fighting reputation. Reflects effectiveness. Boise fought hard. Fought effectively. Earned respect. Earned nickname. Earned legend. Even if details incorrect, spirit correct, that matters. The magazine flood analysis was critical. Bureau of Ships investigated thoroughly. First gunfire damage analyzed completely. Results published. War Damage Report number 24, January 25, 1943. Detailed analysis. Engineering analysis. Tactical analysis. Lessons learned. Report documented shell penetration. Magazine flooding. Fire suppression. Damage control. Everything. Conclusion significant. Magazine flooding prevented catastrophic explosion. Ocean ingress suppressed powder fire. Saved ship. Saved crew. Saved mission. Design feature worked. Not intentionally, accidentally, but effectively. Lucky, but also validation. Magazine located below waterline meant shell penetration created flooding. Flooding meant fire suppression. Fire suppression meant survival. Causal chain clear. Design enabled survival. Not perfectly. Sufficiently. Other lessons emerged. Sprinkling systems inadequate. Magazine fire suppression relied on flooding. No intermediate option. Either small fire extinguished by crew, or catastrophic fire suppressed by flooding. Nothing between. Bureau recommended improvements. Improved fire detection. Improved suppression systems. Improved damage control procedures. All implemented later ships. All based Boise experience. All purchased Boise's survival. Ship paid price. Navy learned lesson. Future ships benefited. That is purpose of war damage reports. That is purpose of analysis. That is purpose of sharing knowledge. Boise contributed, inadvertently, painfully, but significantly. Repairs. Philadelphia took 4 months. November 19, 1942 through March 20, 1943. Forward section rebuilt. Turrets replaced. Barbettes repaired. Magazines rebuilt. Hull replated. Systems restored. Anti-aircraft upgraded. Radar upgraded. Ship emerged improved. Stronger. More capable. More lethal. Than before damage. That is American industrial capacity. Ship damaged. Ship repaired. Ship improved. All 4 months. Japan could not match. Could not repair Aoba 4 months. Required 9 months. Industrial capacity difference. Strategic difference. War deciding difference. Boise returned combat June 1943. Mediterranean theater. Operation Husky. Sicily invasion. Bombardment support. July 10 through August 18. Continuous operations. 40 days. Shore bombardment. Counter battery fire. Air defense. Everything. Then Italy. Taranto, September 9 through 10. Salerno, September 12 through 19. More bombardment, more fire support, more combat. Ship performed perfectly. No damage, no casualties. Effective operations, successful operations. Then Pacific. Return home theater. Return where nearly died. Return with vengeance. January through September 1944. New Guinea operations. Madang, Alexishafen, Humboldt Bay, Wakti, Sawar, Tum, Biak, Nuumfor, Kapsansapur, Morotai. Every operation, every landing, every bombardment. Boise present. Firing, supporting, winning. Scoreboard growing. Not ship kills, shore bombardments, landing supports, missions accomplished. Real victories, real contributions. No longer claimed kills. Real achievements. That matters more. That is maturity. That is experience. That is Boise 1944. October 1944. Leyte Gulf. Multiple battles. October 24 through 25. Surigao Strait night action. Boys present. Part of Battleship Force. Oldendorf's force. 6 battleships. 8 cruisers. 20 destroyers. Versus Japanese force. 2 battleships. Heavy cruiser. 4 destroyers. Americans cross T. Perfect position. Perfect execution. Japanese annihilated. Yamashiro sunk. Mogami sunk. Destroyers sunk. Fuso damaged. Sunk later. American victory. Decisive victory. Boise contributed. Fired 259 rounds. 6-inch versus Japanese battleships. Inadequate caliber. Insufficient penetration. But contributed. Volume of fire. Coordination. Everything mattered. Boise mattered. Again. War ends August 15, 1945. Boise survives. Earns 11 battle stars. Survives Cape Esperance. Survives magazine explosion. Survives Pacific War. Survives everything. Decommissioned January 9, 1946. 7 years service. But 4 years war service. Enough. More than enough. Ship exhausted. Crew exhausted. Nation exhausted. Everyone exhausted. Peace comes. Ship rests. Mothballed. Reserved. Waiting. Future uncertain. January 11, 1951. Sold Argentina. Renamed Ara 9 de Julio. July 9. Argentina Independence Day. Honored name. Honored ship. Honored service. Argentina operates 27 years. Training ship. Diplomatic missions. Fleet service. Good service. Long service. Honorable service. Finally decommissioned 1978. Scrapped 1983. Brownsville, Texas. 45 years after commissioning. Long life. Full life. Accomplished life. Ship served 2 nations. 2 navies. 2 generations. Earned respect. Earned retirement. Earned memory. The legend persists. 1 ship fleet. Ship Tokyo Rose reported sunk. Ship reappeared. Flags painted. Scoreboard displayed. Arrogance. Confidence. Propaganda. All 3. But earned. Boise fought. Boise nearly died. Boise survived. Boise returned. Boise fought again. That is achievement. That is legend. That is reason for remembering. Not scoreboard. Not overclaiming. Not propaganda. But survival. But determination. But resilience. Ship hit magazine. Should have exploded. Flooded instead. Survived instead. Fought again instead. That is American naval warfare. That is industrial warfare. That is winning warfare. Take damage. Repair damage. Return stronger. Repeat. Until enemy cannot. Until enemy exhausted. Until enemy surrenders. Boise exemplified this. Cape Esperance nearly killed her. Philadelphia rebuilt her. Mediterranean proved her. Pacific confirmed her. Leyte Gulf crowned her. That is career. That is service. That is legacy. 107 men died October 12, 1942. Turret crews, magazine crews, handling room crews, all died instantly, doing duty. Serving ship, serving nation, their names recorded, their service honored, their sacrifice remembered. They did not die in vain. Ship survived. Mission accomplished. War won. That is their legacy. That is their memorial. That is why remembering matters. They paid price. Nation won war. Connection direct. Causal. Absolute. Remember them. Remember Boise. Remember 1 ship fleet. Remember ship that should have died. Survived instead. Fought instead. Won instead. That is story. That is history. That is USS Boise CL-47. One ship fleet, forever.